funny you bring up the alt-right in this conversation because with the Groyper movement on college campuses, which has definitely had some alt-right people in it. I'm sorry. I know some people in the comments aren't going to like this, but I know some of these Groypers, and a good chunk of them are alt-right people. And those people are just like some of you I was just describing, where if they don't get exactly what they want, or if somebody does one thing they don't like, they throw them out. You know, they're very absolutist. They have these strange purity tests, and it's, my God, the Groypers are something else. Let me tell you,
So I actually wanted to ask you about that because this was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on. So I know we've talked a little bit about the alt-right before, and I want to kind of preface some things because I know that there are certain things that you can't say, you know, but let me just say this. So earlier this week, ladies and gentlemen, I made a quick video, basically talking about the whole kind of conservative civil war between Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes. You know, and honestly, I have my issues with Charlie Kirk. I don't think he's perfect. I have my issues with Nick Fuentes. He's, you know, he obviously has his flaws too. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the, you know, with people asking questions, although the way that some people are asking questions, it seems to kind of be like a, you know, like gotcha questions anyway. But the one thing that I'm not okay with is I'm starting to see Groypers go after individual Turning Point chapter leaders who don't really have anything to do with Charlie Kirk other than being affiliated with his organization. And, you know, even if you don't like Charlie Kirk and you disagree with what he's doing, I personally think that going after the Turning Point chapter leaders, it's like going after the McDonald's franchise owners because you're upset that the CEO, you know, got caught with his pants down, even though the franchise owners have nothing to do with that whatsoever. Yeah.
So here's my thing with the Groypers, right? They're extreme. Okay, I think they're a little bit extreme. Would you agree? A little bit extreme, a little bit extreme-ish.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think they're a little bit on the extreme side as far as like the population goes in comparison to the population.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I say to them. Look, here are the two choices you have. Okay, these are the only two choices you're going to have as far as the election goes. Do you want somebody that is going to recognize your existence and let you have the freedom to say and do whatever you want, right? Or are you going to vote? Are you going to follow somebody on the other side that wants to see you off of the fucking plantation, period, right? So either we get to exist even though we're not a majority, or we're gonna completely vilify everything you say, and if we have a chance to put you in prison or whatever, we're gonna fucking do that, because you're starting to see it. Like the hate speech thing is just crazy. The hate speech laws are becoming crazy, or the hate speech narrative, I'm sorry, is just getting crazy. Do you want somebody like a Warren who is going to make something like that a fucking law to where they're going to try to threaten your First Amendment rights? Or are you going to have somebody that protects your First Amendment rights to be able to say some of the extreme stuff you say? You're not getting anything other than those two. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
That's a really good way to
yeah,
put it.
yeah, that is a good way to put it. So, and I'm not necessarily saying that the Groypers can't, speak up on, college campuses or question
Yeah.
people. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue here, at least kind of, well, I mean, I don't want to speak for you guys. I mean, you
Mhm.
obviously, Sean, I know you've had some experiences with the Groypers a little bit, but to me, it seems like it's one thing to ask, to ask like serious, legitimate questions. It's another thing to go up there and ask Charlie Kirk ridiculous questions do you think anal sex will help America? Or, whatever that stupid question was. And, or are you owned entirely by Jews? Or something like that.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was
That.
totally crazy.
Well, and the
So,
thing is, when those things happen, you gotta know how to handle them. And
Yeah.
my strategy is you answer the question quickly and clearly and swiftly, and then move right to offense. This is what Charlie did in North Carolina with the Groypers, and that's where he had his most success. That's where the Groypers lost. Even Fuentes admitted they lost there. That's how you deal with these people. Don't shut them down. Don't call them racist. Don't call them sexist. But what you can do is answer the questions, get everybody to clap on your side, and then start grilling them. Be like, all right, are you a Trump supporter? Do you believe this? Do you believe that? And what Charlie did, and a few of them, was prove these guys like you're not really Trump supporters. You're not really conservatives. That's what they were trying to say to him. He flipped it on them. And the other thing he did, which was like something I would do too, is like I'd recommend doing is you ask them like, do you like Identity Europa? Or do you like Andy's groups? And most of them would say no, but he would get other people that'd be like, yeah, I like them, I support them. And somebody that was a supporter of Identity Europa came up to the mic. I need to debate him, and that's what you should do. Conservatives have always been about debating and letting people have a free platform to debate, exchange ideas, and we should keep doing that. When you start going against that, that's when you start losing. And like I'm so glad, Sam, that you're one of the few people that emphasizes the important distinction between national headquarters and the local chapters on campuses, because our chapter is independent from them. Yeah, we have their name on our shit. And yeah, they send us shit in the mail. But that's it. Our meetings are how we want them run. And it's pretty much up to us. Like, we can even technically bring any speaker we want. I mean, they have to approve of them, but we have a lot of choice in things. Like, they don't go around saying, hey, these are the rules for your club. You can't say this. You can't talk about this. You can't do this and that. 9 times out of 10, that is not the case. And I saw somebody in the chat say the alt-right isn't real. That's not true. There is such a thing as the alt-right. They may have a different name. They may not call themselves that, but this sort of extreme right, some of them are white nationalists. Some of them are, they hate Israel, whatever you want to categorize these people. And they're all in that same sort of sphere. I know these people. I know who they hang out with. They all kind of stay in their same group. Like, I'm sorry. I seen it. Is it a big deal? No. That's the one important thing is these people are fringe. The only thing to remember is that these are a fringe group of people on the right, but they are still a group you got to deal with that you didn't have to deal with before. And I told you this, Sam, and you, I think, agreed with me when I said, I'm afraid this stuff's going to make Turning Point look bad, and I'm also afraid the right's going to go too far right, or at least enough of it will, or a noticeable chunk will. And that was scaring me a bit. I'm not going to lie, it was, because this is not the right I've grown to love under Trump.
Right.
This was there, and now it's coming up too much.
And people are wanting to know what I define as the alt-right and whatnot. So let me just in what Groypers are. So as to what Groypers are, I don't really know because, I mean, from what I've been able to tell, like, the Groypers started out as like a meme. They're like an offshoot of the Pepe the Frog. I mean,
Yeah.
like, supposedly Groyper is like a character in that same universe, and he's like a relative of Pepe and Keck, and like there's like this subculture that is kind of like obsessed with the frog, so I guess that's where they got the name Groyper. What I mean by alt-right, because I know that there are like a bunch of subsets, but I'm talking about the people who are very, who obsess over race and demographics to like the point where like, it becomes like their main thing, and there's some veiled, racism, but it's kind of coded, and also, that they kind of like to use code words about Jews and whatnot, and I've never really been into the whole big JQ thing. If that's your thing, I guess that's up to you to do what you want, but it certainly is kind of like a fringe group. Now at one point I considered myself alt-right, back when alt-right simply meant anti-establishment, anti-Republican establishment conservative. So, but
Well, I think the simplest way I've defined alt-right is they are white nationalists and are white identitarians. That's most of them. And then, like you said, there's also sort of these people that are obsessed over Jews in Israel, obsessed over demographics, and I mean obsessed. It's all they fucking talk about, and those people in those same circles, and they may not be full-on white identitarians, but they're still like, oh, what's wrong with being a white identitarian? Like they kind of hint at they could be. I mean, I'm not saying people that say that are white identitarians, but it's something that's a little hard to describe, and it's because you have to interact with these people to understand what we're looking at here. Because we were talking about this because Sam brought up in his class, Sam Richards, not you, Sam, about Stephen Miller. And some say he's racist. Sam Richards said he had racist bones in his body, and I called him out for that. As people call it in the chat, when I really just want him to back that up. And Stephen Miller, he may have these when you see all these emails where, Richard Spencer was in his conservative club in college with him, and they did a debate together. And Steve Miller read a book that's considered racist. Well, this doesn't mean Stephen Miller is racist. When you look at the full context of who he is, what he believes, policies he promotes, he's not racist. But I can understand. I said in the show today that out of context, when you don't see the full picture here, you can see all those little dots and connect them together and go, well, this guy must be racist. But no, you're not looking at the full picture here. And with these alt-right people, I've noticed is when you do look at the full picture, you'll notice they have secret Twitters where they say racist shit. Some of them will even start to say actually racist shit. But they're a bit more open about things, even though they are hidden. But you're always also hiding something. As open as they can be sometimes, you can always tell there's something they're hiding. With Stephen Miller, I just don't see him hiding something.
Fucking yeah. Now we got a couple of people in our milieu that just obsess over like the BDS, right? Just like, oh, do you support BDS? Like, shut the fuck up about BDS. Elon Omar doesn't give as much of a shit about BDS as you do. Are you kidding me? Shut the fuck up about it, right?
Oh yeah. Let me talk about that actually a bit. I'm glad you brought that up. There's this guy that's and a few of them also too that were obsessing over it. Because Turning Point has these posters with it that say BDS is BS.
Wait, BDS has them BDSM? Are we getting kinky here, guys? Or
oh yes. Oh, you read my mind, Sam.
Too bad this is a remote broadcast. So the thing is, people in Turning Point made these posters that said BDS is BS. And look, we put some of those buttons on. Nobody took them, but we never put the posters out. I look, because nobody took them. We had so many extras from so many years because nobody gave a shit about it, because nobody knows what it is. Nobody gives a shit. And so I was debating somebody about it, and I was like, well, I personally don't care much about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Like, it's not a big issue for me. There's much bigger issues like the economy, immigration, healthcare, you name it. And he's like, well, you should know about when you're with a Zionist organization. I'm like, look, I can disagree with Turning Point and shit all the time. Okay, I can agree with them on most stuff, and that's why I'm with them. And they kept joining me, and they're like, oh, just take a 5-second Google search for you to know what it is. Because I said I don't know a lot about BDS. I really don't want to have a stance on them because I don't know a lot about them. I'm like, look, I can't come up with a stance on an issue after a 5-second Google search. Okay, that's how children operate. The adult thing, I'm not trying to sound condescending, but the adult thing is to research something over time, get an understanding, then come on, and have a stance on it. But I'm not going to jump and have a stance on something if I don't know something. I'm going to tell people I don't know a lot about weed. I don't care a lot about weed. I don't like it, and that's what I said about him with this. So I was like, I don't really like Israel. I don't really like BDS, but I'm not going to obsess over it every day. And if I, because they should say I'm dodging the question. They're framing me like I'm Charlie Kirk. I'm like, no, I'm not dodging the question. I genuinely don't know a lot about it, and I don't care. I mean, look, I won't dodge questions. I told him that, and I've also told him, hey, come to us after Turning Point meetings. You can talk to me. Haven't seen him shown up yet.
Here's the other thing is I've heard this whole thing of Turning Point is a Zionist organization. Now granted, I haven't watched every single Turning Point live stream out there, so I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem to me like they go on huge pro-Israel things all the time. Now granted, there are groups like the Students for Israel who are obviously, focused on that, but I've never seen Charlie or, company just go after, Israel. So, also...
Two is, I'll point out real quickly, is that a lot of these people vote for Trump. And I'm like, you vote for a Zionist from a Zionist party? How dare you? And they're like, well, that wasn't the biggest issue. And I'm like, well, that's my point. Don't you get it? That's what I'm saying. It's not a big issue for me. So if they support it, I'm like, okay, it's not a deal breaker for me. These people are these alt-right people, they're not stupid, but they're on some things really fucking stupid and really hypocritical as hell.
Also...